Welcome to the Weekly Roar, coming live from the Lion's Den, helping new managers become great leaders and awesome bosses. And now, here's your host, Greg Storch.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Lion's Den. This is the Weekly Roar. It's great to have you all back in the Lion's Den this week. Today, I'm talking about intentionality. Now, I've mentioned this all the time, but today I want to drill down a little more and talk about what exactly being intentional means. And I'm calling this one living on purpose. But before we jump into that, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Greg Storch, owner of Lion Enterprise, host of the Weekly Roar, and the founder of a worldwide bartered coaching program called The Helping Hand. I'm a certified professional leadership coach and a certified leadership speaker and trainer. Oh, and as a friendly reminder, you can find all of these video resources on my website at lion-enterprise.com. Just look for the Lion's Pride Library and then check them all out. All right, everybody, let's talk about intentionality. In my current role as a transition counselor with the Army, I coach soldiers daily on making the transition out of the military and back into civilian life. Now, this is a major transition for service members because they've spent a lot of years assuming new identities and playing new roles in a completely different culture. So when it's time to return to the life they came from, I take the opportunity to ask them what it is they want to do, whether it's going back to school, finding a job, or even starting their own business. A lot of service members come through the transition program believing that we're the people that help them find jobs. But the reality is that we give them the tools and resources they need to be able to do it for themselves. Well, oftentimes I have a young soldier sitting in my office who's leaving the service after their first enlistment. They're typically in their early 20s, and I'll ask them what they're planning to do when they get out. 9 times out of 10, they start talking about going into a certain line of work, but then they want to go to school and learn a trade. And while they're doing that, they'll do an internship to get experience, blah, blah, blah. Typically, everything I hear is completely disconnected. They're all over the place. But the soldiers are fooled into thinking they have a plan because they filled it up with things to do. The problem is that there is no alignment, no coordinated activity. So it's kind of like having a road trip from Florida to California and driving around to all the major cities along the way. I'm down here, I'm up there, I'm over there, I'm back over there. See, the ultimate goal is to get to California. But then I hear them talk about, well, I also want to go see Chicago first. And I heard New York City was really cool. Maybe I'll do that too. What's happening is that they lose sight on the big picture. And that is where the power of intentionality comes in. Now, what I find myself doing quite frequently is asking the soldiers, how are these actions getting you to your ultimate destination? Why are you going to spend time doing X if you want to go to Z? How is what you're doing right now getting you one step closer to getting to Z? So here it is. If you want to achieve anything in life, you have to be intentional in your actions. Having good intentions isn't enough. You know what they say about good intentions, right? Well, you see, I believe that being intentional is about bringing a focus and attention to something that is important to you. If you want to be intentional every day, you need to get clear up front about what you want to achieve and then take action on achieving it. So, what exactly does it mean to be intentional? Well, being intentional means having the ability to see specific results in the future that, if you achieve them, will make things bigger and better for you, your business, your life. Being intentional means getting clear up front about what you want to achieve. It's your vision, your purpose, and your goals. It's the difference between watching your life go by like an innocent bystander or playing an active role in your own movie. It's the difference between trying and doing. I hear a lot of people tell me that they're trying to do this and trying to do that. At some point, you have to stop trying and you got to start doing. You know, there is a world of difference in the statements, I'll try my best and I'll do my best. But it's that attitude of doing that helps us become who we were meant to be. At the end of the day, intentional action is what converts our dreams into significance. There's always a gap between where we currently stand and where we're trying to go in life. The thing that closes that gap for us is becoming intentional in our actions. But there's something that has to occur before we can get intentional with our actions. We have to know where we're trying to go and what we're trying to achieve. We have to set goals before we can achieve them. Once we get that out of the way, then we have the ability to start identifying what actions we need to take that are going to move us forward in the direction that we need to go. Now, I spoke with a soldier last week who wanted to ultimately work for the FBI. That was his long-term goal. So I helped him perform what we call a gap analysis. That's the difference between where he was right now and where he was trying to go. It helped him to see all of the actions that he needed to take in order to pursue employment at the FBI. But originally, he was going to go to college and start a program that had nothing to do with getting into the FBI. So I flat out asked him why he would waste all that time when it didn't directly contribute to his ultimate goal. I told him he had to become intentional in his actions, and he ended up switching his major to criminal justice. Now he's taking the intentional actions to get where he's trying to go. Now, being intentional in our daily lives requires two things. First, we have to know what exactly it is we want. What are your priorities in life? And then the second thing we have to do, once we've identified what we want, we have to determine the actions we need to take and start taking them consistently. How you spend your time, your energy, and your other resources that you have should align with what matters to us most. So just ask yourself when you make a decision, how is this going to get me closer to whatever it is you're working on? If it doesn't, then should you really be exhausting those resources you have on that thing or something else? And that's what makes becoming intentional really hard, because we have to start changing what we're doing. And it's going to be very noticeable to those around you once you start doing it. So, how do we get to where we want to go when we're still so far away from it? Well, the easiest answer I can give you is just one step at a time. By completing a small task that'll get us closer to where we want to be. And then over time, as you take one step after another, before you know it, you'll be closer to your goal. So Before I share a few ways that I get intentional with my own actions, I want to share some of the benefits that come with becoming intentional. One of the biggest things is that it helps us prioritize. Taking intentional actions motivates me to ask more questions, and it helps me begin prioritizing what's important to me. Once we realize what things are significant to us, we can begin to start focusing on those thoughts. When I want to become more healthy and shed a few pounds, I started to run again. Running was one of the actions I could take that would help me get to my goal of being more healthy and shedding those unwanted pounds. The thing is, when we aren't intentional with what we're doing, we're more likely to accept everything and do nothing. Now, another benefit is that it provides a source of motivation to become more active in our own lives instead of letting life just happen to us. Napoleon Hill said that we have to get involved to have an impact. No one's impressed with the win-loss record of the referee. The more consistent we become at it, the more we make a shift from feeling like we have to do something to wanting to do something to actually getting excited to do it. No matter what it is we try to achieve, the fact of the matter is that we can't think ourselves into it. We have to act ourselves into it. Once I did that, once I started taking intentional actions towards the things I wanted, I found motivation to do that in everything. Now, if I've said this once, I've said it a million times. What we do today matters. And so, a third benefit to intentional actions is that it can inspire us to make every day count. The best any of us can give in a day is 100%. We can't give more, but we can certainly do less than that. I can give 50% or 5%. But if we give less, we lose what we don't use. You can't move it forward to tomorrow. It's just gone. Tomorrow doesn't get the other 50% you didn't lose. And now tomorrow you can give 150%. That's not how it works. When we continually give less than we've got every day, we stay average and therefore we remain bound. Those are just a few of the benefits, and I'm sure you could probably add to the list yourself. So let's talk a little bit about a few things that we can do to become more intentional. Okay, so first of all, we have to be deliberate with our day. When we're intentional with our time, our energy, and our focus every day, we're far more likely to achieve the results we want. Being intentional with our time helps us create a clear structure for our day, and that allows us to establish daily routines that support our goals. When we have greater direction and purpose, we know exactly where to invest our time and attention. And when our time is aligned with our bigger purpose, it will also increase our creativity and productivity. Without an intentional focus for our day, we might feel stuck and waste time on things that just aren't that important or necessary. Without intention, it's easy for us to take on too much and get distracted. So, if you want to be more deliberate with your day, identify the 3 important activities that will help you achieve the outcome you want. And once you do, there's the added bonus of gaining confidence and self-esteem when you accomplish those 3 things. Having an intentional commitment to what we want aligns our actions with our goals, and it helps us focus our time on our biggest priorities. Another thing that I do to get more intentional is to make sure that I'm clear on the results that I'm trying to get. We can increase our intentionality by getting clarity on the measurable results we want to achieve in the future. When we're clear on the results we want and understand the importance of achieving those results, we automatically become more intentional. When I align my life vision to measurable goals, I'm ensuring that I'm motivated and focused to take action. So, if you want to be more intentional, get clear up front about the outcome you want through powerful goal setting. Picture yourself having achieved that goal, and that will help you understand the importance of it. The fact is that when we have an emotional investment in our bigger purpose and goals, we become intentional about taking action. Seeing what our lives can look like once we've achieved our goals increases our confidence and can help us feel motivated every day. All right, now this third thing is a big one if you want to really get intentional with your actions, and that is getting purposeful with your time. Being intentional is all about being purposeful with our time to help us achieve our most important goals. When we're intentional with our time, we have a clear structure for our day, and that ultimately leads to positive and productive daily routines. Intentional people understand the importance of their time, and they look to achieve their goals in the simplest, easiest, and fastest way possible. Now, here's a hint if you want to be more intentional with your time. It's important that you understand that certain priorities, relationships, and collaborations are going to help you achieve the results you're looking for. And that brings me to another point about this. And my wife and I were just talking about this over dinner the other night. And that was that if we intend to become purposeful with our time, it's important that we set boundaries around our time. Set aside time for our self care and plan around our energy levels. Starting and ending each day with gratitude will help you protect your time and ensure you end each day feeling proud of what you've achieved. Okay, now the fourth thing that you can do to become intentional is to think about your focus. That's right. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Intentionality increases your focus on the things and people that are most important to you. It helps us to understand the importance and the purpose of our bigger vision and directs our minds and actions to help us achieve it. An intentional focus also gives us greater clarity around what we want and takes the guesswork out of where to invest our time and our focus. By having this focus on our vision and knowing the action steps we need to take, that gives us confidence to focus our attention on what matters most to us. All right, I'm going to give you two more things that I want to share with you to help you become more intentional. So, this fifth thing is also extremely important because it's a major ingredient in our success equation. Becoming intentional in our actions requires that we focus on our goals. Intentional goals allow us to align our purpose and vision with an action plan to achieve our goals. When we're intentional about our goals, we identify the end result we're after, which gives us the direction and focus. Setting goals provides us with the plan and path to work towards every day, and ensures that we start our day with focus and purpose. Goals give us the motivation and focus to achieve the priorities that we've set for ourselves in life. So here's the deal. When our goals are clear, we understand why we want to achieve them and when we want it to happen. And it's this clarity that gives us the confidence to structure our time. It also helps us invest our time and energy on our biggest priorities. Okay, the last thing I did that helped me become more intentional in my own actions was to become more mindful of my important relationships. Intentionality helped me to increase the value of my most important relationships and brought deeper meaning to those relationships. See, when we invest the time to appreciate our most important people, we experience a much higher level of gratitude. And better yet, it helps us foster an abundance mindset. Taking this action is important here because it really helps us to understand the purpose and importance of every relationship we have. When we spend time to understand why a relationship is important, we feel happier and we experience greater joy. Expressing gratitude to someone else increases their value in your own life. Just like goals, identifying exactly what you want from each relationship provides you with clarity about the best result you want from that relationship. And the last thing about this is that once we've decided to be intentionally present in communication with the people that matter, we're able to show how much we value them. So those were the 6 things that helped me become more intentional. So when I talk about becoming more intentional with your actions, these things are what can help you do just that. Being intentional means having the ability to see specific results in the future that, if you are to achieve them, will make things bigger and better for you. Having an intentional focus is a way of thinking about your business and your own life that's committed, purposeful, and deliberate. When we're intentional, we choose to make decisions and take action on what's important to us. Being intentional means getting clear up front about what we want to achieve. Our intentionality grows when we focus on being intentional every day. And to be intentional, get clear up front on exactly what you want to achieve. Understand its importance and take focused action every day towards achieving the things that matter most. Because being intentional helps build that positive mindset, helps us become more present in the moment, and it gives our lives greater clarity and purpose. And I hope I've made myself perfectly clear. All right, that does it for today. But there's one last thing that I wanted to ask you. What topic would you like to hear about on the Weekly Roar? Is there something that you want to know more about leadership or personal growth? If so, place your comment below and I'll incorporate the subject into one of my next episodes. All right. Now, if you want to keep running to the roar, then join me again next week. All you have to do is just come on back to the Lion's Den next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for supporting me and watching the Weekly Roar today. I appreciate all of you. And until we meet again next Wednesday, remember, be powerful, but stay poised just like a lion. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Weekly Roar live event at lionenterprise.com. If you enjoyed this video, please tell others to join us each week here in the Lion's Den. Thanks again, and see you next week.